All right, so now we're going to take this idea of a forecasted rate a step further, and instead of looking at a 1 period rate 1 period from now, which is an easy one, we're going to say, well, what about this one? What about a 1 period rate 2 periods from now? So here's what you need to be thinking about. This investor, if I'm buying a 1-year bond 2 years from now, I've got to have something placed like as a placeholder for the 2 years before I buy the one, which means that the overall holding period is a 3-year window. So let me say it again. The next one we're going to look at is what would the rate be on a 1-year bond that we're going to buy 2 years from today. So T plus 2, we're going out 2 years, 1, 2, and we're buying a 1-year bond. Well, we have to buy either 2 1-year bonds or 1 2-year bond before we can buy this one that we're forecasting for the future. So our total investment horizon is 3 years. That's going to go on our left. So if we go back to our yield curve, we see the 3-year bond yield is, and you know my picture's not great. I'm not sure you're not surprised about that. But my picture's not great, but this should be lining up with 6%. So we've got a 6% 3-year yield. That's going to be the left-hand side of our equation. And because it's a 3-year bond, we got to put a cube on it because we're getting that 3 times, right? And you know when I do that, let's just do that real quick so you can see. So when I take 1.06 to the third, what do you know is going to happen? I'm going to be getting 6 plus 6 plus 6, 18, plus some compounding. So let's try that. 1.06, yellow, y to the x, 3 equals, and it's 1.19102, 1.19102. Well, what is that? That's the 18% that I got for the 3 years of 6s plus the compounding. So you should be able, when you get an answer like this, to say, okay, does that make sense? And that makes sense to me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, that 3-year rate has to equal either 1.05 times, what did we find in the last video? The 1-year rate 1 period from now was 6%, right? So I've got a 1 year, and then I've got a 1 year forward, and then I'm going to have a 1 year after that. Or you can hopefully see that this is easier. I could just plug in what? This first 1 year, and that 1 year we forecasted was the average of what? The 2 year. So I could just put in 1.055 squared, and I wouldn't have to know the 1 period rate 1 period from now. If I understand that, I could buy a 2-year bond and then roll it over into a 1-year bond 2 years from today. So what we're looking for then is 1 plus t plus 2 f1. All of these would have a 1 power on them. If I plug in the 2 period rate, of course, it's going to be squared. So let's do that. So we're going to have 1.19102 equals, we did this a minute ago, 1.055 squared 1.11303 times the one we're looking for, 1 plus t plus 2 f1, right? So we're going to divide both sides by 1.11303. We're going to subtract 1, and that's going to leave us with the rate that we're trying to find. So let's do that real quick. Now, I've got the denominator in my calculator. I'm going to flip it and multiply because it's faster, but I could go out, type in 1.19102, divide by 1.11303, but that 1 over x key is your best friend, because if I hit yellow 1 over x, now I can multiply and I don't have to go back out and divide. So I'm going to multiply 1.19102, 1.07007, 07007 minus 1 equals 7.01%. So let's think about whether that makes sense or not. If I got 5, then I got 6, then I got 7, would I be averaging 6 over a 3-year window? I think I would, right? So that does make sense. If I got 5, we forecasted the middle one was going to be 6. We're now forecasting the third one's going to be 7, and we need a 6% rate of return over the 3-year horizon. So that makes sense. Okay, excellent. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'll give you some that I want you to work for homework. So let's do the last one here. Let's do a 2-year bond that we're going to buy 2 years from today. All right. Now this is going to be a little bit more complicated because we're going to have to take a root, because our answer is going to have a square in it. So we're going to have to take a root to get rid of that. So let's think about it. We're going to buy a 2-year bond that we are going to wait 2 years to buy. So we're going to go out 2 years and then buy this, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what we're trying to find. T plus 2F2, right? That's what we're looking for. So our overall horizon, right? I've got to put some money in the first 2 years while I wait for the second 2. So my overall horizon is 4 years. So that's my left, 1.07 to the 4th. On my right, I'm going to have the 2-year bond, the 1.055 squared. And I'm going to multiply that by 1 plus t plus 2, f2 squared. So I'm trying to find this. So here's what I'm talking about. When I divide both sides by 1.055 squared, I'm going to have a, whatever that's called, a quadrupled rate in the numerator. I'm going to have a squared rate in the denominator. So I'm going to have to take the square root to get us back, because we're looking for annual interest rates. Remember, interest rates are always quoted in annual terms and in nominal terms. They include inflation and they are quoted in annual terms. So I've got to get that rate back down to an annual rate. So let's just do it. We had our 1.07 here just a second ago. Oh, actually we didn't. We haven't done this one yet. So 1.07 to the 4th is 1.3108. 1.3108, right? The 28% that I get from the 7 plus an extra 3.08% that's from compounding. That's going to equal, we've done this one a couple of times, 1.055 squared, 1.11303 times 1 plus t plus 2f2 squared, right? So we're going to divide both sides by 1.11303. We're going to have to take the 1/2 root minus 1. And here's one little trick. You're always taking the root that is the number to the right of the f. So that the root that you're going to take, so if I'm looking for a 3-year bond rate, I'd take the 3rd root. If I'm looking for a 4-year bond, I'd take the 4th root. So you're always looking for this root. So let's see what we've got. Now let's think about it logically before we even do that. We need 7 over the whole time period. We're getting 5.5 and 5.5. So help me out here. My math isn't always great. So we do 5.5, 5.5. We need 28. And we're getting 11. So how much does it have to go up? I can't figure it out. I'm going to have to do it with the formula. But you can figure it out logically. You know it's going to be what? What do I do know without being able to do it in my head that it has to be what? Bigger than 7. Because I've got to pull up my average to be 7 over a 4-year horizon, and I'm only getting 5.5 the first 2 periods. So that part I know. It's probably going to be bigger than 9. So let's just see what it is. So 1.3108 divided by 1.11303 is 1.17769. Now it's not 17%. I know that because that's way, way too big. Because what did I forget? I forgot to take my square root. So I'm going to take the square root of that and subtract 1. So let's do that. Minus 1. Now see, I was off. It is only 8.52%. I said it was probably bigger than 9. I told you I couldn't do it in my head. I told you that it would be bigger. It is bigger, but it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. So it's 8.5. So let's think about that. 5.5, 5.5, 8.5, 8.5. So if I were doing a quick and dirty little simple average idea in my head to check myself, so 5.5 plus 5.5 plus 8.5 plus 8.5 divided by 2. Magic, or I divided by 2, I should have divided by 4. Divided by 2 is 14, divided by 4 is 7. So we get the 7% rate of return that we need over the 4-year window. And using that simple average as a check for yourself is a really, really handy way to check. I'm going to do one final one, and then we are going to call it a day on this particular topic. So let's find the last one here. Let's find a 3-year rate, a 3-year bond that we're going to buy 1 year from today. So what's our overall horizon? We're going to buy 3-year bond 1 year from today, so we have a 4-year horizon. So 1.07 is going to go on the left. We're buying a 5% bond, and then we're going to roll that over into a 3-year bond. So I'm going to get 7 over the whole horizon. I'm getting 5 in the first year. So what does this 3-year bond yield have to be to get me 7 overall? So let's divide both sides. We had 1.07 to the 4th was 1.31, I believe. Yeah, 1.3108 divided by 1.05. Now what root am I going to take? This is to the first power, this is to the 4th. I'm looking for that, so I'm going to be taking the third root. So to the 1/3 power minus 1. So 1.3108 divided by 1.05. It's 1.248. I need to take the cubed root of that, raise it to the 0.333333, and I get 1.07675 minus 1, 7.675%. So if we got 5, then we got 7.67, 7.67, 7.67. We can average 7 over the investment horizon. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you 4 rates to practice, and then we will go over these in class. Actually, I'm going to give you 5. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to do a downward sloping yield curve. Let's do 6% for year 1, 5.5 for year 2, 5, we'll just make it simple, we'll just keep going down. 5 for year 3, 4 for year 4, and let's flatten it out. We'll do 4 for year 5. 4 for year 5. So 6 is the 1-year rate, 5.5 is the 2-year rate, 5 is the 3-year rate, 4 is the 4-year, 4 is the 4-year. So I want you to do a couple things. One, find first how many forward rates can you find with a 5-year yield curve. So that's question 1. How many rates can I find? How many 1-year rates can I find? How many 2-year rates can I find? How many 3-year rates can I find? How many 4-year rates can I find? First step. Second step is find them all, calculate them all, and then we'll go over them in class. So you're now notice that before our forward rates were always higher than our short-term rate because the market was expecting rates to go up. Now we're expecting rates to fall, so your forward rates are going to be lower. All right? All right, so you're going to have several to calculate, but it's very good practice, and write the notation out because it helps you see what it is that you're trying to find. The other final piece of advice I have is this little horizontal timeline is extremely helpful if you can get in the habit of drawing that little timeline. All right, thanks.